Right now I'm about 2 weeks out from my next meet. It's exactly 1 year from the first meet I ever did, and I initially had pretty mixed feelings about signing up for it. Last year I had a pretty clear goal of I want to do a meet because I've been waiting for so long to try it, and I wanted to do it as a graduation present. And then a few months later I did another one, and I really enjoyed both of those experiences. I feel like every single meet prep is really different, and sometimes different things pop up that I wasn't aware of before, like different techniques to try or different areas of my body feel like they're breaking down. For squats this time around, I've really been noticing that I tend to shift my weight to the left a little bit, and one of the fixes that I tried was just using chalk to help hold the bar steady on my back, and that seems to have helped, but I do think there's probably some kind of imbalance there. And I've also been working on my deadlifts. I noticed that I tend to hinge on my belt, and some days I really overthink it, and the lift can just progressively get more confusing and worse as the session goes on, which is a little bit frustrating, but I feel like with my deadlift it's got potential. I think there is strength there that I just haven't been able to tap into yet. So I'm trying to work on that, trying to not get discouraged, and trying to keep my parts together. I've been incorporating pause deadlifts to try to make sure I don't hinge on my belt as much, trying to keep the back flat, trying to actually use my glutes, use my hamstrings to perform the lift rather than just let all the weight sink into my lower back and arch forward over the bar as I tend to do, especially as the weight gets heavier. So that's something that I'm hoping I can work on some more after this meet is over, maybe doing some different deadlift variations. This footage is from a little bit earlier on in the prep where I was still doing some front squats. So I would warm up with back squats and see how those felt for the day, and that was a kind of an odd exercise because sometimes I would still get those exertion headaches that I got last year when I hadn't figured out my breathing yet, and I'm still trying to work on that, but I feel like the headache consistency is a lot less than last year, so I'm thinking it's not breathing related at this point. But this is actually one of my rare squat videos that are filmed from the side. I'm checking to make sure I'm getting deep enough, and sometimes I feel like the movement looks a lot different from what I picture it is in my head, so it really helps to be able to see how it actually looks, how the bar path looks, and also how slowly the bar is going back up. And I also did switch to doing some front squats after working sets of back squats, and I think that that was a good way for me to get some more volume in and also hit my quads a little bit more and be able to squat more without banging up the rest of my body as much. And with front squats I always go beltless. I actually have tried using a belt before, and I didn't feel like the belt was that beneficial for me for front squats. I'm not sure if it's the way that I'm squatting or because I don't use as much weight, but doing front squats without a belt has actually felt a lot better. So after the meet I'm going to continue to incorporate these more and work on some progression, so go a little bit heavier because I won't be as cautious about how much weight I can tolerate any given week. So here's another set of back squats. I think they've felt a little bit better than they have in the past. It's definitely paid off to do some accessory work. The single leg, one leg on the bench lunges. I know there's a better name for them, but I always forget them, so I'm just describing what I do. Is I try to put weight on the leg that's not on the bench while holding a dumbbell or a kettlebell in the arm of that same side. So if my right leg is on the ground in front of me, I'll have a kettlebell or dumbbell on the right side, do a lunge, trying to keep my body upright, hip square, which are the areas I'm working on, and try to target that side butt. I really feel like turning on that side butt has really helped me be able to push off of my hips more evenly during squats, which was a huge issue during my last prep when I kind of injured a hip flexor, which hasn't come back to haunt me so much this year, and I'm kind of surprised because last year I was limping around most of the last month leading up to the meet and then sometime after that. So squats are really scary. I so far haven't reached a point where I've really failed while squatting at the gym, which I'm really thankful for because I haven't had practice doing that and would be kind of freaked out / embarrassed. But so far I've been picking my numbers, I think pretty reasonably, so I haven't had to deal with that. This is a video I'm not really proud of. It's my first ever bench with a 45 and a 25 for a total of 185 pounds. And both of the benches next to the bench that I use were occupied at this time, so I had to drag a bench in front of me and use it as a tripod, and as a result I just have this crotch shot. But it was my first ever attempt at doing this, and again, I didn't have a spotter and I didn't really want to ask someone to spot me because I've had experiences with not great spotting and handoffs, and I just didn't want to mess with that. So it went down, it went back up, and it didn't feel too slow, and then I guess I did it again and again. If I didn't have footage, I honestly wouldn't remember, because once I hit the numbers, do my lifts, I leave the gym, move on with my day, and it's like some kind of weird amnesia. I don't know if I try not to remember or just I'm not conscious about it, but I'm just not attached to the numbers that I hit, but at the same time, I still want to make progress, so it's kind of a tricky balance. And here, my friends, the one that just walked by earlier, he's offering me a spot because he thinks that I am going to squish myself, and I just said I got this and it'll be fine, and I finally got side view, so working on keeping my butt on the bench and just trying to get more confident. Something about that 25 with the 45 still kind of freaks me out. So yeah, I have to work on keeping my butt on the bench. So more practice, just a few more weeks. Thank you so much for watching.
It looks like it's coming out for longer times now.
No. Is it just like pulling food down?
Baby, Versace on the floor.